Okay, let's begin the third and final hand. For this exercise, have your paper and print out of hand 3, which you'll find in the downloadable materials in the curriculum, prepared and taped down next to each other. I'm going to take a slightly different approach for this drawing. I'd like to show you a different way of looking at an image, so I'm going to do a quick sketch to help you visualize breaking the image up into separate planes and draw it using them as my guides instead of relying on the outline as heavily. You don't have to do this part, just follow along. Instead of beginning with an outline, I'm going to build the shape by outlining the planes. Let's simplify this into 3 planes. This is the light source. As you can see, the top of the knuckles are in front and in direct light. That's the first plane. The side of the knuckles in shadow are the second plane, and the rest of the palm and thumb are still technically on the first plane. This area is in a separate plane. It's a cast shadow from the knuckles. This finger is the third plane because it's at a different angle from the rest of the bent fingers. Okay, so let's try applying this approach on a hand drawing. By now, you should be familiarized with the steps in the process of creating a perimeter, so this lesson is going to go at a faster pace. And to keep things interesting and have a little fun in this lesson, I'd like to get your shading a bit more dynamic and stylized as well. As you can see, I've begun by giving myself the angles of the knuckles. If the speed of the tutorial is going too fast for you, just pause it after I put down a line and apply the same measurements in line to your drawing. Then start the lesson back up again. You have control of the tempo of this lesson. Okay, that's a good start. Next, I'll begin sketching in the thumb and getting in the basic line drawing. Again, this exercise is different. I'm not going to begin with an outline. I'm going to work in planes. I'll sketch in the planes of the fingers next. I'm using the word sketch because that's what I'm doing here. My lines are going to be looser because I'm guessing and judging distances instead of relying on precise measurements. The indent of each knuckle lines up with its corresponding finger. Notice that the bend of the index finger lines up with the knuckle in the middle finger. Use that to help you place that joint. Remember, you need to think in planes for this exercise, so draw yourself a guideline showing you where the front plane ends. Look for contours in the outline like this dip in the knuckles to help you estimate the width of the fingers. Once the fingers are in, you can finish the outline. Just loosely sketch in any other landmarks you want to have, and remember, for this drawing, I'd like you to try being freer and looser with your lines. Let them be sketchy on this one. Once your preliminary sketch is finished, you can begin working on your line weight. It's okay to put in a little shading if it helps, since you're thinking in planes for this drawing. Try your best to go quickly. It's going to give this drawing some energy. I chose this drawing for a reason. This photograph is of a fist, so it feels stiff. When a subject feels stiff, it helps to give your drawing more motion and a looser line. Drawing isn't all technical lines and perfect shading. Those are great exercises, but I also want to teach you how to make your drawings have energy. That looks good. Next, I'll begin doing my preliminary shading. As always, I'll define the shape of this drop shadow before I begin shading it in. This big dark shadow on the palm is going to take some work to build up, so just get in that first layer of shading and try to make longer, looser hatching lines. Once your basic shadow shapes are in, you can begin building up your values, and notice I'm still just using a 2B lead. Look how loose and fluid my shading is. The motion I'm making is coming from my elbow. I want your drawing to have feeling and drama to it, almost like what you would see in a comic book. Have some fun with this one. I've switched to a B-lead to start working on some of the transitions into lighter values. Next, I'll use an H-lead to hatch in the lightest values. Remember, the thumb is on the first plane as well, so I'm still using an H-lead to limit how dark my shading gets. Looks good. Finally, I'll switch to a 3B lead and darken that big drop shadow on the palm of the hand to 10th value. Remember to build the shading and do your best to transition the pencil hatching and texture into the texture on the arm. So again, I'm hatching with wide strokes, and the motion is coming from my elbow. As a matter of fact, I'm standing up and my whole arm is moving. I'll just clean up my perimeter lines and any smudging with a rubber eraser. Okay, finishing touches. I'm just going to go back in with my 2B lead to darken and fill in some of these midtones. I'm going to darken the line on the shadow side of the hand to really exaggerate its weight and make it stand out. And I want the thumb to stand out some more as well. And done!